happened to all of us. The inbox dries up, your calendar's empty. Suddenly you're Googling freelance jobs near me at 2 a.m. But the quiet season isn't always the enemy. So in this episode, Shay and I are going to unpack the guilt, the panic, the sneaky creative power that sometimes comes only when your business slows to a crawl. Because as we know, survival sometimes depends on you being very creative with what services you deliver and how you deliver them. So, yeah, Shay, will you kick us off? What's the first sign for you that work has slowed down? Is it the inbox, the bank account, the panic dreams? Let us into the world of slow, Shay.
Yeah, so it's definitely inbox slowdown where you've finished all your work, that, your regular work, and there's nothing else left to work on, which sometimes is a nice feeling, and you feel like, oh, wow, okay, cool, I can actually go do something else from my list. Maybe, as we spoke about in a previous episode, pick up on some of those side projects so, inbox slowdown is okay. That's fine. But then when it gets maybe towards the end of the month and then the bank balance starts to match the inbox, that's when you start feeling a little bit more urgent and panicked about the whole thing. At first, it feels nice. It's like a little bit of a break, like, okay, cool, I've worked hard, I deserve this. But then you need to match up that income you've lost, and that's when it's not as fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel
for
the
me,
same?
it's not so much the inbox slowdown, because I tend to work on really chunky projects, so there's not always stuff going on in the inbox when I'm really busy anyway.
Yeah.
But for me, it's when I start my invoicing for the month, and you're looking at your invoice total, and you're like, oh shit, this has not been a good month. So I'm actually, I mean, freelancing, it's kind of really busy, and you do have these lulls. And I think it's not just freelancing, I think it's business in general that you do go through. I think that you kind of insulated from it a little bit more when you're a paid employee, because you get your salary regardless. But you
Yeah.
can't
You
tell
get
me
to
that
enjoy
your
it.
business is always doing well. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, for me it's when I start doing the invoicing and I see like, holy crap, this has not been a good month. But what I started doing to kind of negate that is measure my income quarterly, because you are going to have a bad month and you can't judge your performance on like one really, really bad month. So yeah, especially if over time, I mean, it's kind of like investing. You sometimes are losing, but over time it's actually growing. So yeah,
Also, I mean,
I
I
think that
find
that's also quite.
sometimes like I would have had a busy working month, for example, but it's a 30-day payment terms or whatever. So that income is actually only coming later, or the opposite, where you've taken your 50% deposits and then it's dragged out. And so, I mean, I've had months where I've earned like 5 times more than I did the month before, just because of the way I've been paid. I know it's a little
Yeah,
different for you because you
yeah,
pay yourself a salary, but it can be quite jarring to see, okay, I had this much this month and then that much the next month, just because of the way, and I was, the same amount of busy. But yeah, so I don't
yeah,
know. For
yeah.
those who need a bit more
Um,
stability, I think maybe the salary is a good idea.
yeah. I must say that the salary thing is great, but because I'm managing my own finances and a business finance, like financially I'm fine, but when you see that bank balance, like for me, 100,000 in the bank account, in the business bank account, is
Okay.
like a mental benchmark. And as soon as the cash drops below that, then I start panicking, because like, okay, that means I've got 3 months that I can make no money and the money's gone kind of vibe. So, it's you kind of keeping your personal life ticking over, I'm freaking out a little bit on the business side, because, that kind of mental benchmark that I set for myself, we've now gone below that. But
Question,
yeah,
do you have an
yes.
emergency fund, a personal emergency fund, or do you see that 100,000 as your emergency fund?
So I don't have a personal emergency fund, but I've got a business emergency fund. So I've got my current account, and then I've got a business investment as well. That is my extra emergency. That's like emergency money.
So if
So
you
yeah,
earned zero in a month, you would pay yourself out of that 100,000, let's say.
yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay,
So
got you.
say my salary is my gross is 30. So if I don't break even in the month to pay myself that 30, it's coming out of the slush fund.
Okay.
But yeah, it's there, but uh you don't really want to be taking money out of it if you
Mm.
can at all. So yeah.
And what do you do? I'm sorry, I know we're going a bit off topic, but just interesting, I
Yeah.
think, for those who are looking at this model. What do you do when you have a surplus? Does that just stay there in case of lean times, or would you then go
Yeah.
reinvest it in your business somehow?
Uh A little bit of both. So when people are like how reinvest in business, you kind of get this oh well, you're going to buy this big expensive thing or go on a big marketing campaign or anything, and that's not what I do at all. So the money, surplus money, goes into my emergency slash fund. I still take my set salary. So I personally don't really benefit much from like super good months.
Mm.
But that money goes in, and I mean, like, if I earn 0 rand if my business earns zero over the next 6 months, I can survive on money that is
Mm.
in the business. So yeah, most of it goes into emergency slush funds and that sort of thing. When it comes to investing, then that's when I'm looking at like, okay, let me buy little lapel mics or something that's going to make what I do slightly easier. That's how
Yeah.
I see investing in the business. How do you see investing in the business? I mean, now we're going down like a weird rabbit hole here.
Yeah. So anything I can deduct from tax. So yeah, again, like I bought a nice ergonomic chair, for example. Or I'll do a course, or I don't really spend much money on marketing, I must say, but yeah, more like equipment or upskilling would be investing in the
Mm,
business for me. Um
yeah.
I did have another question about the salary thing. So, do you think it affects your motivation? Like the fact that you earn the same regardless of how hard you work?
No, because I know that I can go for 6 months with not a single paid client, and I'll be okay. Um, well, I'll be okay financially. Mentally, I'd probably lose my shit.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think so. Weirdly, my motivation is not affected by my personal income. I still think I earn a fairly decent salary for what I do, etc. And I'd rather keep the money inside of the business. Every now and again, I do take a lump sum out and I'll put it in my bond, or
Okay.
pending pending tax. But yeah, I don't. My personal income doesn't motivate me very much. Um, I would rather make sure that the business is set up that it can survive another COVID pandemic. I still want to be standing at the end of that. Yeah. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm just curious because I find for me, at least, months that I do really well, but where I've worked really hard, I find okay, at least it's a reward when I see the money coming into my accounts and I'm like, oh, I feel so rich this month, but I know that I've worked I've worked really hard to get there. Whereas if I was working so damn hard and just getting my standard salary, I don't know if I'd be as motivated to work that hard.
I don't know. I really, and I think that this really comes down to like how much you love what you do. And I mean, this is not a commentary on anyone. I'm speaking obviously for myself, but
Mm,
um, I would do what I do for free.
mm.
I love what I do that much. So the money is a bonus. I'm making it sound very kind of reductive. It's not. It's not meant to. But I would do what I do for free, and so that's where my motivation comes. I really love what
Mm,
I do. So that's where I get my motivation. If I'm working
mm,
on like super interesting stuff, um, the money is secondary to the enjoyment. Probably because I've got a bunch of a slush fund that allows me to have a couple of bad months and I don't have to worry too
mm,
much about the money. I think if I was kind of just scraping 5 cents together to buy bread, it would probably be a different story.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So what has your most productive slope patch ever been? Like
So
how do you spend your downtime? Like if you know your inbox go quiet, what do you do?
So that's when I tackle things, and we all have those, the working on your business things that you've been meaning to do forever, like update your website and batch create some content on LinkedIn and update your, I don't know, your header somewhere, or, all that stuff that does move down to priority 2 when you have client work that's
Mhm.
keeping you busy. So I went through a stage where I was quite good and disciplined about setting like a day aside a week to do that. I'm not in a position to do that right now because I've taken on a bit of extra work. So I'm quite looking forward to maybe getting back to that because right now I'm just not getting to those priority 2s. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to work in my business again. And
Yeah,
you, how would you
yeah.
spend those? I mean, you said you've had a quiet last 2 months, but it sounds like you've
Mm,
had quite a few side projects on the go.
yeah, I look at it as an opportunity. I'm not really good, and I've tried several different iterations of a business day. During the week, you dedicate four days of the week to clients and then one to yourself. And I'm really bad at that because the client work tends to bleed out, or I just don't feel like doing my own marketing on the day that I've set aside, and so th I would rather do something else. But yeah, this particular slow patch has been very productive. I mean, I've completely rebranded my business. I've written a lot of like long form content for myself as well. And I've been playing around with little experiments on my processes and that sort of thing to streamline them for when I do get busy again. So um I think that I'm ready for this period to now end and get back to work. But it has been productive for me
Yeah.
because I don't normally do that kind of back end business work when I'm super busy with client work.
Mm.
So yeah, I make up for it when I'm not busy. Speaking of not busy, if you could press a button to guarantee constant paid client work, would you press that button or do you secretly like the lulls? So like, does it give you kind of off time to focus on your own thing?
Yeah, I must say, I think those lulls happen when we need them sometimes and sometimes don't come soon enough. Again, I think we're both speaking from people we've got financial cushions, we have established businesses. So, for us, it's easy to appreciate a lull and make the most of it. I think I'd be feeling a lot more desperate if I was just starting off or didn't have an
Mm-hmm.
established business. So I think it's a very contextual question, but for me, yeah, the odd lull every now and then, just for me to kind of catch up on those priority 2 things is always welcome.
Yeah, same. Sometimes you need that break from client work to kind of rediscover your own creativity.
100%.
Um,
Yeah.
you do tend to put your own stuff on the back burner. And
Mm.
yeah, this is a great question actually to ask people. Please tell us in the comments. If you could press a secret button to guarantee constant busyness, would you press it, or do you secretly like the little breaks that come in between the busy periods? Pop it in the comments, and we will check them out hopefully in a later episode. And then we'll check you out in the next episode.